Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name is Dr. Ray. We are in the clinic today and I'm going to be entertaining some questions. I've been on the hunt for some really good options for you. The end of the year is coming up. It is October 23rd, 2025, and so I want to end the year with some good options for you guys, and I have some really popular requests. And so to review different diets. And so what I've done is I have been working on building myself a program where I can take these various diets, run them through this program, and then come up with a really nice scorecard for you guys with the PSS system where we can evaluate like whole brands so we get more of an idea of the whole picture. Because, sometimes I do one diet, another diet, and one isn't good, but it's not a full representation of the brand. And so we're going to be doing that today for the company Authority, and this program has just really allowed me to scour the internet and get as much information as possible and present it to you guys in a really nice, concise data sheet that will be available for you guys to download on my website. And so we'll go over that sheet because you can click it. It'll show you the package. I've, not traditionally been able to include packages because they're copyright, but now there's a link you can click so you can, verify the package and all that stuff. So I think this will be a good thing. So today we're going to be doing Authority, and we're going to switch over to a screen capture of the worksheet, the PSS scorecard for Authority, and then of course I'll have my website down here. You guys can download it there, as well as some of the earlier worksheets. But if we like this format going forward, I think we're going to be using this particular printout for you guys to have for your own records. As always, on my website you can always download my workbook that goes through this process for both dogs and cats, so I highly encourage you to do that so that you can follow along and have fun doing this as well. So let's hop over to the screen capture and you guys can see the new sheet. Okay, so Authority is a PetSmart brand. It's their store brand. And so if you go to their website, obviously it comes up with PetSmart, but they do actually have their own manufacturer site, authorityfood.com. And I thought this was going to be the ticket for me to get the information. They have a lot of their foods available here. They even have a place where you can leave a question. They will never get back to you. At least that's my experience. But let's say you click one, you would think that you could click it and get information on it. You can't. The only thing they're interested in doing is selling it to you. And so you click check price and then it takes you to a retail place. Then on the top of the website, you can click on best sellers, and when it takes you to the same thing. There was a place where you could kind of look at the advantages and the different things. You could click on them, but all in all, basically there is no nutrition information basically at all on this website. I did notice there, it says authorityfood.com participates in the Amazon LLC's associate program, an affiliate advertising program, and they earn advertising fees, etc., which is fine. A lot of people do that. I actually have a Amazon affiliate website too, where I put stuff on there for you guys, so that's not a big deal. Facts you can click on, about us you can click on, but long and the short of it, what I'm telling you is there's not much substance there, so we are not going to be messing around with that at all. Obviously, you can go to the PetSmart website and find the food. There you go. They're all there because that's their kind of thing. So let's say we click on sensitive skin and stomach, which is a popular one. You can then get some information about the brand, but again, it's very limited. So not all of the diets have complete nutrient profile information, and you actually have to get it from looking at these pictures. There's no nice chart or anything like that, but that is there for you if you guys want to do that, and that's what the link on my little chart is going to link you back to. Let's go back now to the chart. Now, I did not do all of the brands. I couldn't, all the bags. I couldn't do all of them. It's just too many. But I did do a select few. And so the ones we're going to be looking at today and in this nice, really easable comparative form is going to be the everyday chicken and rice adult, the high performance chicken and rice, the large breed adult chicken and rice, the grain free adult chicken and pea, the senior chicken and rice, the weight management, and the sensitive the sensitive stomach lamb and rice. And so based on my pet food scoring system, I run it through my program, and it came here and it does the nice breakdown for you. It is using the appropriate parameters for the appropriate life stage. So if it is an adult, it's going to run it against the adult standards, and they're right there in that note below the box. If it's a senior, it's going to run it through the senior standards, which are also dictated there. And then the actual nutrient breakdown is highlighted underneath that for you as well. So just be sure that you're reading the italicized footnotes on that so that you're correct. And then on the top has the date that the particular scorecard was created, because as you know, formulas change, so you should always be staying up to date. I have done in my charts, my program is now converting everything to a dry matter basis. If it can. So if they give them moisture, then I am able to calculate and have it converted to a dry matter basis for you guys. I know in some videos I have, some videos I haven't. A lot of it's ease, the amount of time that I have trying to, if I can't get it from the company or it becomes burdensome, and I always have you guys do that at home, but I am trying on these particular scorecards to go ahead and have that for you. So you will see that as the bottom part of the chart. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is the everyday adult chicken and rice. You can see across the board that they did not do AAFCO feeding trials on any of these diets, but I was happy to see that the chicken and rice was properly formulated for adult. It was not an all life stage food. The protein, the fat, the fiber were all in the reference range. Unfortunately, with Authority, as you will see, we go through this brand, the minerals were not optimized, most likely. Unfortunately, only one of the options were we able to actually find a concrete number for the minerals. All of the other ones were not listed, could not find them, could not in a timely fashion get that information from the company. So if it is not listed, no points were afforded for that. If it's that hard to get the information, I know a lot of you guys are not going to do that. I'm certainly not going to do that when there are a lot of options out there. And so not listed or out of the range resulted in 0 points for the calcium and phosphorus. This particular one, the chicken and rice, clearly with rice, is not grain-free. None of these diets are raw. And when I take a sample of the feeding guide to make sure that it is suggesting the correct calorie amount that you feed your pet, it was correct for the 20 pound, if we're using the 20 pound dog as our model. And so that first option, the everyday adult chicken and rice recipe, actually scored a 7 out of 10. And so, as you know, we're quite happy with that. Not completely optimized. We had a couple things that fell short, but all in all, probably a pretty decent option. And you can click on the bag there using that PetSmart link to see exactly which bag that we're referring to. The next one was a high performance. And anytime I hear that, like high performance, what does that specifically mean? Sometimes that means they've put more protein in there. This particular diet, that was not the case. Sometimes they put more fat in there. This diet, it was actually not the case. It was quite honestly almost identical to the everyday chicken. They did not list the minerals, and so there could have been a difference there. I don't know. And so because this particular diet wasn't all life stage food, they did lose a point there, and that bumped that down to 6 out of 10. What does it mean when it's all life stages? There are things, people ask me this all the time. Well, all the parameters were almost exactly the same. Why is this a 6 and the other one a 7? There are some parameters. Obviously we're only picking a sampling of them, right? We're picking 5 parameters. There's a lot more that goes into what's appropriate for a puppy or what's appropriate for an adult beyond what we look at. And so if it's not the correct life stage, some of those other parameters that we're not looking at are probably optimized for a puppy and not an adult. And so that's why this goes to a 6 out of 10. If you're going to pick between the two, and there's probably a price difference too, and you have an adult, you're probably going to want to shy to the adult version. If you have a puppy, you might want to shy to the performance, but I did not run this for a puppy. Then we get into the large breed adult. Again, there is no specific requirements for a large breed adult. Once you cross that line and you get past puppyhood, all the different breeds, etc., all have the same nutritional requirements, and so that's a marketing thing. With that, it did still score well, even though there were not feeding trials and we had issues with the calcium and phosphorus being reported. We did meet all the marks on the other parameters, bringing this up to a 7 out of 10. So particularly may be an option for you. It did have a little bit lower fat at 13.3%. So if you need a food that's lower on the fat side of the scale for whatever reason, this may be appropriate for you. And no, it is not specifically just for large breeds. If you have a Schnauzer, for example, and looking for a low fat diet, this could potentially be an option. Run it by your veterinarian. We have the grain-free, the next one, the grain-free adult chicken and pea. As you guys know, I do not like grain-free diets. I do not like the potential for heart disease. There's really no reason to do it. This is not a food trial appropriate diet. This is not a food allergy appropriate diet. So there's just really no reason to do it. There are better options here. This only scored a 6 out of 10, so it wouldn't be a contender for me, not just because of the grain-free, but it just, well, I guess it doesn't score well because it's grain-free, but that option is there. You can check that out. If you want, really go over that with your veterinarian. I would be hard pressed to say that there's any benefit of doing that would justify the risk for your pet's heart disease. But you can go ahead and check the numbers out there. And there was nothing special there. It was moderate protein, moderate fat, moderate fiber. Minerals were not able to be collected. Then we had the senior chicken and rice. So this was evaluated based for senior parameters, and it did fall short as far as a senior goes because we were a bit high on the protein. We like a lower protein for our senior. Fat was a little bit lower, and fiber at 4.4% was good. What I will say about this is even though it only scored a 6 out of 10 for a senior, this is actually a really good option for an adult dog, especially an adult dog that, again, needs those lower fat profiles. At 12.2%, we are getting nicely, really in the safe but low fat range, and so that could be an option. Senior chicken and rice is just the name of the food. There is nothing that says you have to feed that to a senior. There is no AAFCO senior defined life stage, because we talked about this before. AAFCO is not a nutrition body. They are a label regulation body, and so they're just regulating labels. They are not striving for optimized nutrition. So here's a perfect example of that. They don't have a senior life stage. Okay, so if they were a nutrition body, a nutrition geared, strict nutrition, medical grade, etc. geared body, they would have those life stage tailored down, and they don't. So just keep that in mind, and why we don't use AAFCO and why we use small animal clinical nutrition is because we're in it more for the true nutritional aspects, not just the regulation aspects. So the senior 6 out of 10, but you know what, if you were feeding this to an adult, it may be suiting some of your needs. Again, the minerals weren't listed really for a senior. You really want to have that. You're gonna be hard pressed to find it. If anybody finds it, let me know. Give me your sources and we can update this. But I just couldn't get it. Then we have the weight management option. This was a chicken and rice option. It scored nicely at 7 out of 10. So a good option there for you as well. It had a little bit higher protein in it, but it was still within range when converted to dry matter. The fiber, interestingly enough, and actually I need to correct this chart here, and I will before I upload it. I'm seeing it now. It gave it a point for the fiber when actually the fiber was a bit high at 11.1. It actually is going to lose a point there because the fiber is technically supposed to be below 5, but with this weight management, they add that extra fiber to make your pet feel full so you don't feel guilty. So it actually is going to bump it down to a 6 out of 10, but I don't think it's a bad option, especially again for some of those dogs that need that lower, really low fat. This is about as low as you want before you start getting into prescription strength. So before I upload this to the website, I will correct this to 6 out of 10 and remove that fiber point, and I'm going to have to update my program. We had a little hiccup there. Last one is a sensitive stomach. People or sensitive stomach in lamb and rice formula. A lot of people gravitate to that verbiage. Again, it's just a name. Okay, guys, if I can impress anything upon you, these diets that say sensitive skin and stomach or sensitive skin or this, that, and the other, it is all a name. It is all marketing. There's nothing you can put necessarily in a commercial diet that is going to help your pet's sensitive skin. If your pet has a sensitive skin because it has an allergy, the allergy has to be treated. If it's a food allergy, an over-the-counter diet is not going to be appropriate. I cannot stress that enough. I get so many people to the date saying they're switched this food to this food to this food. They're all over the counter searching for a food for their pet's food allergies. You will not find it. Okay, you will not find it doing that. Food allergic dog has to be on a prescription diet. That is the way that it is. You're wasting time, you're wasting money, you're making the diagnostic process when you do decide to finally get it worked up so much longer, so much more expensive. Do not change your diet to another over-the-counter diet or a sensitive skin and stomach if you think your pet has a food allergy. With that said, nothing particularly wrong with the diet. The diet is a fine diet. It scores a 7 out of 10. It hits a lot of the high marks, so we're still missing the minerals. But is it appropriate if your pet, let's say, is actually diagnosed with a beef allergy? No, it is not. So we can, now that we have this chart, look at everything in totality, and we can see there are actually some pretty good budget options here with Authority. You just have to know what those options are. And so I hope that you will take this chart and download it. And even, maybe take it to your veterinarian. A lot of veterinarians are pressed for time. They don't have time to do this. They don't have time to do this research. Take this to them and say, hey, look, this is what I was looking at. These are the numbers. What do you think? They may not be able to tell you right there in that appointment. But that is a good dialogue, and it's a good way. Veterinarians love numbers. Everybody says, oh, well, why do veterinarians pick those big three? It's because the numbers are there and they're easily available. But if you remedy that and you come to the table with some solutions, I think that your, veterinary team, at least a good veterinary team, would be very receptive to, this format, or presenting this to them in this format. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope that you will enjoy this format. Let me know in the comments below. Next week, which is going to be, the date is, let me look up on my calendar here, the 30th, the day before Halloween, Thursday the 30th. I think we're going to be doing a live. We're going to be doing a live, I think, on a senior showcase. So bring your questions about your senior pets to the live on the 30th. It will be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll go over a couple things and hang out. So be sure to set your notifications, ring the bell, and do all those things. And I will see you guys next time.